NBC Sports, home of Super Bowl 43, welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Dallas 2-0. Green Bay 2-0. Moments to the kickoff. Let's go down to the field in front of the Cowboy bench. Andrea Kramer with Tony Romo. Andrea.
Well, last year in the Cowboys win over Green Bay, you threw 4 touchdowns, more than 300 yards, and weren't even sacked. What do you expect from their defense tonight?
Well, I think they're going to give us a couple different looks, so I don't suspect we'll have quite as good a day through the air tonight, but I think it'll be a great test, and it'll be a lot of fun.
What are the different looks, real quick?
They're probably going to double a couple of our guys and do some different things, and probably try and come after us a little.
This Cowboys team is built to win the Super Bowl now. With those kind of expectations, what kind of approach do you take? It's only week 3.
Well, we try never to get ahead. We're just trying to, get better for today, for tomorrow, and win this game. And I think for us, we look at it as a journey. And I don't know why you'd want to fast forward and get to a point where you say, hey, that's a lot of fun. That's a game like that, but a game like this is a lot of fun too, and why would you not want to play in this?
All right, Tony, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it. And don't forget, Al, this is a homecoming of sorts for Tony Romo. It's why you see so many 9 jerseys in the stands. He's from Burlington, Wisconsin, about 150 miles away, and this is his first start on Wisconsin soil since his senior year in high school about a decade ago.
He grew up, as you say, near the Illinois border in south central Wisconsin. Went to one preseason game when he was a kid, and then was here on the Cowboy roster but didn't play when the Cowboys were last year in '94. You've got Nick Falk kicking off. Will Blackman is back deep along with Jordy Nelson. The Cowboys won the toss but elected to defer. And here we go from Lambeau Field, the kickoff fielded by Jordy Nelson, the rookie from Kansas State, from the 6, and he brings it back out to the 24-yard line. For Aaron Rodgers, the #1 pick in the 2005 draft out of Cal. Take a look at that. His first 2 starts, 4 touchdowns, 506 yards. He's the first quarterback in the history of the league to throw for 500 or more yards and complete at least 70% of his passes without throwing an interception in his first 2 NFL starts. And this is a guy who, obviously, as every football fan knows, supplants Brett Favre, comes in here, was given the reins almost unconditionally, even when we went through that whole tumultuous situation with Brett unretiring, and he's done a magnificent job through the first 2 weeks.
Very comfortable in the shotgun.
And out of the gun, that first pass is a little bit low and dropped by number 89, James Jones. So it'll be 2nd down for Rodgers, much like Tony Romo, John, in the sense that Romo spent so much time on the Cowboy bench observing and watching and playing on the scout team. They came up almost the same way.
Right, and they were able to use those 3 years to work on their skills, and that's what Tony Romo said a couple years ago. I remember that he said he thinks that's the way a quarterback should be brought along, and then when we talked to Rodgers, he said the same thing, that those 3 years he really developed into the quarterback that he is today.
Here is Ryan Grant, who's been nursing a sore hamstring, and he loses the ball after a gain of 9, and the ball is still alive, and it's picked up by Adam Pac-Man Jones, and Jones will be run out of bounds at about the 12-yard line. Ryan Grant, nursing a hamstring, last week carried 15 times, but for only 20 yards, and they didn't even know if he was going to play that much or even at all this week, and he fumbles on his first carry.
Well, and they said that they were going to need more out of him tonight, and you can see that ball is well out before his knees down. Adam Pac-Man Jones is right there with the hit, and then the ball goes right underneath him, and he picks it up. I mean, that's a twofer for Adam Jones. The hit to make the fumble, and then recovering the fumble.
So the Cowboys take possession at the Green Bay 14-yard line. The running back is Barber, and this is Marion Barber, and he gets 2, taking it to the 12-yard line. Last year it was Julius Jones who was the starter. Marion Barber was the finisher, much like a Mariano Rivera kind of guy. He'd come in and close out the game. Then Jones went to Seattle, and it's Barber's job right now, and he's an every down back.
Right, and I wouldn't be surprised as the season goes on if they get Felix Jones, their #1 draft choice, in there more and more, so that Marion Barber can continue to be the red zone, goal line, short yardage, and closing running back.
2nd and 8. That's Owens in motion. That's something we'll probably see a lot from him tonight. Romo has time, and he throws for Owens over the middle, and the pass is incomplete. At the 7-yard line, it'll be 3rd down and 8 now.
Hey, Terrell Owens is going to be covered mostly by Charles Woodson, number 21. You'll see Woodson going. He starts in motion now. Woodson can't get up on him and be physical. They have to let him go and let the safety pick him up as he goes across in motion. That's one of the reasons that they want to do that. Get him off the line so he can't be physical, and then move so that Charles Woodson can't bump him.
Woodson's been playing with a broken toe, had 2 picks in the game against Detroit, and ran one back for a touchdown. On 3rd and 8, Romo throws, and that is caught, but well short of the first down. It is Owens at the 8-yard line. So it's 4th down, and the Cowboys send in the field goal unit.
You know what I think they're trying to do is they're trying to hit Terrell Owens in a position. Watch Woodson here. He's going to go so far, and then right there he's going to hand him off to the safety. So they want Terrell Owens just to stop at that point after Woodson hands him off. Of course, they would have liked T.O. to have the first down.
Nick Folk had a great rookie year last year. 25-yard attempt is good. So they cash in on the fumble by Ryan Grant. Pac-Man Jones created it, and Dallas leads 3-0. Sunday Night Football brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Low fares and no hidden fees. By Sprint, get NFL Mobile Live only on the Now Network. By the GMC Sierra, the official vehicle of the NFL. And by Bud Light Lime, the drinkability of Bud Light with 100% natural lime flavor. Brats, Green Bay, where else?
It all goes together, doesn't it?
And great tailgating weather. And as we said, a temperature in the 60s on this 21st night of September. Dallas' second kickoff, fielded this time by Will Blackman. And he's met at the 26-yard line. Let's take a look at the Green Bay offensive starters.
Aaron Rodgers, California.
Ryan Grant, Notre Dame.
John Kuhn, Shippensburg.
Greg Jennings, Western Michigan University.
Donald Driver, Alcorn State.
Donald Lee, Mississippi State.
Chad Clifton, Tennessee.
Darren College, Boise State.
Jason Spitz, Louisville.
Tony Mall, Nevada.
Mark Tauscher, Wisconsin.
Those 2 tackles, Tauscher and Clifton, each coming to the Packers in the 2000 draft.
A good area to have bookends, your tackles and your corners, and the Packers have good bookends at both those positions.
Now a fake, and then a pass out to the left side to Greg Jennings, and Jennings takes it all the way to midfield. Greg Jennings in his 3rd year out of Western Michigan, and this is a budding star.
Right, you know, if you say, what do the Cowboys or what do the Packers do well? They do this. They run slants, short passes, and then they run well after the catch. And then this is the other thing Aaron Rodgers does well. He gets back and has a very quick release. He reads quickly, gets rid of the ball quickly, doesn't keep it in his hands for a long time. But that's just kind of Packer football. You know, you split them out, you throw that quick slant, then you get them the yards after the catch.
Patrick Watkins. That was an injury timeout as they check out Patrick Watkins. That's very significant. Roy Williams, broken forearm. He's their starting strong safety, so he obviously is out tonight and probably for the next 4 weeks. And now Watkins, at least for the moment, is on the bench. And we give the ball to Ryan Grant, who fumbled on his first carry, and he takes the ball to the 41. Let's take a look at the Dallas D.
Marcus Spears, Louisiana State. Jay Ratliff, Auburn.
Chris Canty, Wahoo Wah.
Greg Ellis, North Carolina.
Brady James, LSU.
Zach Thomas, Texas Tech.
DeMarcus Ware, Troy.
Terrence Newman, Kansas State.
Ken Hamlin, Arkansas.
Pat Watkins, Florida State.
Anthony Henry, South Florida.
Well, Watkins is out. Courtney Brown takes his spot. 2nd down and 4 right now. 3 wides and 3 cornerbacks in for Dallas. And here goes Green to the outside. And he's able to get around the corner and stay inbounds and pick up a second successive first down for the Packers as he's run out of bounds by Anthony Henry.
Yeah, when the Packers go 3 wide receivers, Al, like you just mentioned, the Cowboys counter that with 3 corners. And sometimes you say, well, why isn't that nickel? Well, on 1st and 2nd down, they just want to use base defense. So they take a safety out. So they just play with 1 safety and 3 corners.
Dallas's defense, base 3-4, as has been the case with almost all of Wade Phillips' teams, no matter where he's been through the years. Nearly offside, but they couldn't get the snap. That was Greg Ellis who got back across the line. And now they put pressure on, and he gets it away, does Rodgers, and the pass is caught by Donald Lee, the tight end, who's tackled by the long Miami Dolphin, played 12 years with the Dolphins. Zach Thomas, number 55, now in his first season with the Cowboys.
And again, I'm impressed with Aaron Rodgers in the way he gets that ball out of there so quickly. And you know, to do that, you have to make a quick read also. And he comes back, gets that quick read, and boom, that ball's out of there.
2nd and 5. They had Craig Lumpkin come into the game, set up a fullback, and now move him to the outside and give it to Grant again. And Grant takes it to the 29-yard line. Number 98, Greg Ellis, in on the stop there. It'll be 3rd down.
They've been playing Greg Ellis over here in this right defensive side. Usually he's on the left. DeMarcus Ware is on the right. And they'll flip-flop those guys to get a matchup. Sometimes they'll get them on the both on the same side to help get an inside pass rush.
3rd and a short 4. And that's Torrey Humphrey lining up in the backfield, and Dallas is going to take a timeout. Dallas takes a timeout on defense. Don't forget to check out Sunday Night Football Extra on NBCSports.com, NFL.com. A lot of good stuff there. Stats, extra camera angles, and all of the rest. Check it out. 3rd down and a short 4 for the Packers after Dallas took a defensive timeout. The ball at the 29-yard line. Cowboys on top 3-0. Early first quarter.
Cowboys have 6 defensive backs in there.
And Rodgers will throw to the left side, and that's caught by Greg Jennings, who takes it to the 11-yard line. And Mike McCarthy loves to do that a lot. The coach of the Packers, different looks, different formation. He had 2 guys lined up in the backfield, offsetting Rodgers, and Rodgers comes to the left side.
Right, he has the 2 tight ends that you're talking about right here, and that gives him the maximum protection. Now he knows that they're going to be a form of man-to-man with 6 defensive backs. So he gives him a good, clean pocket and lets him get the ball out there to Greg Jennings.
18-yard gain, and here goes Grant, and Grant really gets walloped at the line of scrimmage by Tank Johnson. Grant thinks he ran into a tank, and he did.
They have to get Grant back to what he was towards the end of last year. Remember, the Packers started off the season and they couldn't run a lick, and then they started running, and he gained over 900 yards in the last 10 weeks.
With that sore hamstring again last week, limited to about 1.5 yards per carry. And tonight fumbling on his first carry. 2nd down and 9 now. Rodgers from the gun goes to the outside, and that's a great tackle made by Pac-Man Jones on Donald Lee, number 86, and that'll set up a 3rd down and 6.
You were talking about Aaron Rodgers, and for 3 years just studying and practice to be able to do this. I mean, get back there, read quickly, get the ball out of your hand quickly. Get it to a guy and let him make the play. Now on 3rd down, he has to get it to a guy a little more up the field. Although they can get a 1st down, can't they?
They can. 3rd and 6, 7 yards from the end zone. It's Brandon Jackson flanking Rodgers in the backfield. They set Lee up in that max protection set. Rodgers again looks to the left. He's going to scramble. Buys time, still looking, but no place to go with it. And he's taken down at the 18-yard line, and that's going to make it about a 35-yard field goal attempt as Anthony Henry gets credit for the sack.
And I think you'd have to give credit to the sack to the coverage downfield because, like you said, they have that maximum protection look. They're going to protect 7. They're going to give Aaron Rodgers a pretty good pocket. It breaks down on him, but there wasn't anyone open early that he could throw the ball to.
Coverage sack, as John said, but it goes into the books as Henry's first career sack. Now Mason Crosby had a great rookie year last season. This is a 36-yard attempt, and that kick is good. 8:02 remaining in the opening period at Lambeau. 3-3. The new season of Heroes begins tomorrow with a 3-hour premiere event. That's tomorrow night, 8 Eastern and Pacific, 7 Central and Mountain, right here on NBC. In the Hall of Fame that adjoins Lambeau Field, the uniform of number 4, as Mason Crosby's kick is fielded by the rookie Felix Jones, who ran one back for a touchdown on Monday night, and the Arkansas rookie takes it up to the 19. Let's take a look at the Dallas starters.
Tony Romo, Eastern Illinois.
Marion Barber III, Minnesota.
Terrell Owens, Tennessee Chattanooga.
Patrick Creighton, Northwestern Oklahoma State.
Jason Witten, Tennessee.
Tony Curtis, Portland State.
Lozo Adams, Michigan State.
Kyle Kozar, Arizona State.
Andre Gerard, Colorado.
Leonard Davis, Texas.
Mike Colombo, Boston College.
Great offensive line. They've done a masterful job over the past couple of weeks. A lot of experience. Good pass protection and opening up good holes for Barber and for Jones.
This will be a big matchup here today. Aaron Campman against Colombo.
Here is Barber. And Barber fights his way up to the 21-yard line. Let's take a look at the Packers on defense.
Aaron Campman, Iowa.
Ryan Pickett, Ohio State University.
Johnny Jolly, Houston, Texas. Forest High School.
Cullen Jenkins, Mac Champion, Central Michigan.
Brady Papinga, Brigham Young.
Nick Barnett, Oregon State.
AJ Hawk, The Ohio State University.
Charles Woodson, University of Michigan.
Nick Collins, Bethune-Cookman.
Aaron Ralph, First Colonial High.
Al Harris, A&M Kingsville.
Little pressure on Rouse tonight. Atari Bigby, the starting strong safety, is out, and Rouse figures to see a lot of Jason Witten before the night is done. Here goes Barber, swinging to the outside, picking up the first down as they ride him in to the Green Bay bench, forced out by Nick Collins.
Yeah, did you see who got the block that broke him? No TO. They say that he doesn't block, or he doesn't do this, or he doesn't do that. If he doesn't make this block, Marion Barber doesn't make this right there. Boom. You see, Charles Woodson was out there on him. He gets Woodson, gets him turned, gets him down, and Marion Barber runs right by him. I always said that anytime you get a big run in the NFL, there's going to be a good block by a wide receiver.
There was that. There was Kyle Kozar, the guard, who threw the first block to help spring him. 31-yard line, first down. Romo, a lot of time over the middle, and then it's dropped by Patrick Creighton. Dropped a big one in the Giants playoff game, but through the years he's been a glue-handed receiver, and Al Harris is now down, the starting cornerback for the Packers, and this would be a huge loss. So Harris on the ground, injury timeout. Harris came off under his own power. He got picked off by his teammate A.J. Hawk, but he walks off and it appears to be out for maybe a play or two and then back in. Here it is.
You see him right there. He runs into his own guy, A.J. Hawk, as he was covering Patrick Creighton going across the field.
So Tremont Williams, 38, comes in to take his spot. He's at the bottom of the screen. Witten sets up on the right side, the tight end. Miles Austin goes in motion with Williams staying with him, and they pitch the ball to Barber. Marion Barber takes it up to the 36-yard line, and now you've got a flag as Colombo and Rouse get into it.
Well, and the flag could be on Cullen Jenkins, right, because it looked like Marion Barber was continuing to run, and he was continuing to play. And I know he does have a point if they call him for a late hit.
Mike Carey is the referee tonight. This will be his first call with 6:44 to go in the first quarter.
Looks like it is going to be his first listen. About 3 of those officials that have something to say about this play.
Buddy Horton, the field judge, did a whole monologue.
There's no foul for unnecessary roughness. All the action was legal.
That's what I was going to say. Cullen Jenkins did have a reason for that. And they could see, I mean, you watch the way Marion Barber runs, and Cullen Jenkins comes across. Barber was down. They ruled him down, but if you're number 77, you don't know that. And he just runs through, and he's playing. I think that was a good call or a good non-call.
Good conference. I mean, they got it sorted out. Wound up being called correctly. No foul, 3rd and 5. Al Harris comes back into the game. Just had the wind knocked out of him. Felix Jones, the rookie from Arkansas, comes into the backfield. And the crowd is alive, and everybody is standing as the play clock is ticking down, and Mike Carey steps in.
Now this is a Lambeau crowd. This is Lambeau Field, Green Bay, Wisconsin.
The play clock had been ticking down, and Carey stepped in to stop it. And McCarthy, I think, is mad about the stoppage because that puts it 25 seconds back on the play clock. Dallas can regroup.
This crowd has to go another 25 seconds.
3rd and 5 out of the gun. Romo throws, caught, and that's Witten, whose forward progress should net him a first down. He was over the line to gain is Brandon Chiller, the former Ram, makes the stop, but it's very close to a first down. They'll spot it at the 41-yard line.
Yeah, and the big thing is going to be getting a pass rush here because Bob Sanders, the defensive coordinator of the Packers, said that they want to be able to put pressure on Tony Romo with just the 4 guys because they have to keep their secondary back for T.O. and Witten, and they don't want to commit a 5th or a 6th guy's rush unless they have to. And it looks like, and again, it's very early in pass protection, but it looks like they're going to have to think about that somewhere.
Enough for a first down. Jones is the running back. Tony Curtis lines up as a fullback, and this is Felix Jones. Up to the 48-yard line. Felix went to Jerry Jones's alma mater, the University of Arkansas. He shared time there in the backfield, and a lot of people were very surprised that it was Jones who winds up going to Dallas in the first round, but they love him. They think he'll be a great compliment to Barber, and especially in running back kicks, he'll be very helpful.
And Jerry Jones has said the last couple of weeks that he's even better than they thought he was when they drafted him.
Gains 2 here. Gets to the 50-yard line, and that's going to set up a 3rd down and 1 as Jenkins makes the tackle.
And they want to get Felix Jones more and more into the game, and I think one reason is because he can break any play. That's one part of it, but I think the other reason is, like I said, is you want to keep Marion Barber where he's fresh in that 3rd and 4th quarter when you have to win a game, because this guy is a monster in those situations.
Jones and Darren McFadden with that 1-2 punch at Arkansas. Barber comes back in, 3rd down and 1. 4:15 to go in the opening quarter. And they give it to Barber, and Barber, good as gold in these situations, takes it to the 48-yard line, and that'll move the change as we tick down under 4 minutes.
Anytime they need something, that they want to get here to this right side. I mean, when you have a load like that, Leonard Davis, Mark Colombo, you put a Jason Witten over on that side at the point of attack, they can just collapse all those green jerseys to the side to get a first down. Jason Witten, when you look at all the things the tight end has to do, he's the best tight end in the game.
And now they're going to work it to Patrick Creighton on an end around, and he's going to look downfield to throw, and he wants it toward the end zone, and it is broken up on a double team in the end zone. Owens wants a flag and gets none. Woodson and Collins both back there with him.
Hey, one thing, you're not going to sneak Terrell Owens anywhere. Even though it's a reverse, they aren't going to let him run deep all by himself, as Patrick Creighton finds out right here. I mean, Charles Woodson is going to be on Terrell Owens wherever he goes. And if there's any free safety, he is also going to be checking Terrell Owens. These are the 2 guys that will be checking him all night.
Play clock down to 1. They get the snap away. It's an inside give out of the gun to Barber, who breaks a tackle, picks up a first down, and Marion Barber III is forced out of bounds at the 24-yard line, and Nick Barnett is shaken up, the middle linebacker, favoring his shoulder, and he comes to the bench.
I tell you, they don't tackle better than this. There's going to be a lot of guys favoring a lot of things. Kozar comes up, makes a good block. 2 missed tackles right there. Tell you, I was talking about Jason Witten here being the best tight end in football because he does everything. It's not like he's blocking a little defensive back or even a linebacker. That's blocking their best defensive lineman.
Rouse is the second man to miss a tackle, and that time, trying to get to the outside, it's Nick Collins who comes in and forces him down after a minimal gain.
And that's when you have a tight end that can do that. Then you can run anywhere. And you see Witten is blocking Campman again here, and he just gets him and then takes him and then gets position on him so that the back can get to the outside. And the Cowboys have something here in their running game, and whatever it is, they're going to run it to their right, to this side over here.
Desmond Bishop is the middle linebacker with Barnett on the bench, and the pass is thrown, and it's incomplete over the head and behind Witten, who was covered that time by Aaron Rouse. I think maybe Romo thought he was going to go the other way.
I think the timing was just off a little. He just had to let Witten work a little longer because he had the situation he wanted. He had Aaron Rouse man-to-man on him, and there was no help to the inside. He was going to the post, and I think that Tony just didn't wait a beat longer.
3rd and 8. Packers bring in their pass rush specialist, Kabir Bajabiamila, KGB, number 94. There he is. Austin goes in motion to the outside, and now have Owens coming out of the slot. Romo fires over the middle, and he goes to the tight end Witten, and that's going to be a first down on a 3rd and 8 play. They gain 9. I love what you said, John. You're right. I mean, for years we thought about Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates, Dallas Clark was more of a tight end wideout, but maybe all-encompassing in that position. Nobody beats Witten right now.
No, they don't, and this helps them too. Watch what they're doing to Terrell Owens here. You can see that Woodson is playing a man-to-man, but he has a safety over the top. Now that's going to put Witten man-to-man. I mean, you can't double everyone.
The fake to Barber, and then Romo's going to have to eat it after pump faking twice, and Aaron Campman will get credit for the sack back at the 16-yard line.
Now that's what's going to be. I mean, they have to be able, the Packers defense is going to have to be able to slow this run down, and then when they get him in 3rd down, they have to get a pass rush. And they're not getting there yet. They're not getting close to Romo on that 3rd down pass rush. There's one guy that has to do it. I mean, he has to do it big time. And I'm not talking about getting pass rush where you get sacks. I'm just talking about getting close to him. Make him throw when he doesn't want it. Make him uncomfortable.
2nd down, 15. Barber's been a workhorse. And gets taken down by Al Harris after a gain of 1. Al Harris, who got shaken up, came back in. That's Barber's 8th carry, 49 yards for him thus far.
Yeah, it's funny, we were talking about Witten, and he was blocking Campman, and now he goes out there to block Al Harris, and Al Harris just kind of handles him. Al Harris gets his hands on him, just waits for the back to get to him, and makes a good tackle.
And he comes out again. You saw him making that play, and then he comes out holding his wrist or hand. So he's out of the game on a 3rd and 13. That means Tramon Williams is in.
This is where the Packers need a pass rush. This group right here.
And it's only a 4-man rush and no pressure, but it's intercepted in the end zone by the safety Nick Collins. And he's out past the 20. And Collins will avoid that tackle at the 30. Has blocking. Blackman out in front of him. And finally, Terrell Owens goes all the way down the field to stop him after the interception in the end zone.
That defense, they hang in there. They hang in there. Al Harris makes a big tackle to put him in long yardage. Tony Romo forces one here. You see there's not a big pass rush, but there is coverage. He had 2 2 receivers and 4 defenders, you'll usually lose that battle.
And exhausted, enervated, but getting a hug as he comes to the bench from Bob Sanders, the defensive coordinator, is Collins, who runs it back from the end zone to the 43 of Dallas with 1 second to play in the quarter. Dallas had a 16-play drive, and that was a 61-yard return.
Charles Woodson is the guy on Terrell Owens, and Nick Collins is the other guy on.
And then there's a fumble, and the first quarter will end with Rodgers recovering his own fumble. Pretty good quarter. End of 1, Dallas 3, Green Bay 3. NBC Sunday Night Football from Lambeau Field continues after these messages. Lambeau Field in Green Bay. Al Michaels, John Madden, Andrea Kramer on this 21st night of September. Romo throwing the interception at the end of a 16-play drive on 3rd down. Trying to get it to Witten, intercepted by Collins, who ran one back for a touchdown at Detroit last week. We begin the second quarter with a 2nd down and 18 from the Green Bay 49-yard line. James Jones is back in the game. He was shaken up on the first offensive play, but he's back in, and that is caught by Jennings, and he gets wrestled down by Mike Jenkins, the rookie out of South Florida, as we go back to the Collins pick.
Yeah, here's Jason Witten right here. Here's T.O. right here. They're both running post patterns, and they really get too close together. Nick Collins is just back there kind of reading them both, and he gets underneath Jason Witten. Watch A.J. Hawk. You can see he was going to, that's an old rule of football, that when a quarterback throws an interception, you always go after the quarterback. A.J. Hawk just did that. You remember that old rule. This is their 4 wide receivers. They call this Big 4.
3rd and 7. And Rodgers will throw after avoiding the sack, and off balance he's able to jam it into Greg Jennings. Number 85, Jay Ratliff, came in, almost wrapped him up for a sack, but Rodgers able to remain upright and finds Greg Jennings.
This is what impresses me about Aaron Rodgers, is how calm he is in the pocket, and then how he keeps things alive. We talk about Tony Romo doing it, but watch Aaron Rodgers. He does the same thing. As he feels that pressure, his eyes don't look down to the ground. His eyes stay upfield all the time.
Jennings has caught 4 balls on this is 25th birthday. 1st and 10. The ball is at the 25-yard line as Rodgers throws into traffic and incomplete. Trying to get that one into Jennings, but he and Driver were in the same spot.
And when you see that, you know that's not that one of those guys has made a mistake, because you would never have 2 receivers that close. That would never be your spacing. But I was at practice the other day, and they used a lot of this 4 wide receivers. They call it Big 4, and a tight end, and Aaron Rodgers looks very comfortable doing that.
Aaron Rodgers is handling himself extremely well, as we know, on the field and very much so off the field as well, through a fairly tumultuous period from June through the end of August, as Donald Driver gets knocked down. Driver taken down by Terrence Newman. And of course, every football fan knows exactly what took place here. Favre retires, wants to unretire. What's going to happen? Winds up flying in here as they begin the exhibition season. Then of course wants to go to Minnesota. Ted Thompson was right in the middle of all this. The head of football operations clearly makes the deal for Brett to go to the Jets, but it was never going to be a case of Brett competing for the job. The job was given to Rodgers, and he was the man. 3rd down and 4. And that is incomplete. Incomplete on a slant for James Jones. No fumble, incomplete. And that'll make it 4th down.
That was a good drive for the Packers, though, and I think the thing that they learned, that Aaron Rodgers can make plays with a rush, but that they can pass protect pretty well. And I think their big thing right now, if you say, well, what's their problem with the Packers right now, it's going to be their pass rush on Tony Romo.
Now Mason Crosby made one from 36 earlier. Derek Frost The punter, who used to be with Washington, is the holder, and that kick is good. So after the Collins interception, they get 3 and lead 6-3.
Ronnie Brown, his 4th rushing touchdown of the day.
It's long enough, it's up, and it is good, and the game is over.
It's on the way, and it is good.
He drilled it.
Josh Scobie drilled it.
The exultant Jack Del Rio in a critical early season game for the Jaguars, who would have gone to 0-3, and now they're in a lot better shape, clearly.
I think Jack Del Rio is one of those coaches that his players are always going to hang in there.
And they did to beat the Colts. Crosby's kick fielded at the goal line. This is Felix Jones running back for a touchdown against Philadelphia on Monday. Taken down at the 20-yard line by Brady Papinga. Tony Romo's hometown, right there in southern Wisconsin near the Illinois border. Burlington High class of 1998. He was a great basketball player as well. 24 points per game. As a golfer, tremendous. He's close to scratch. I've seen him in action. You don't want to bet against him. And now, of course, the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys making his 29th NFL start. Free agent out of Eastern Illinois.
I don't think you'd want to bet against him in a lot of things. And this is a situation here. You know, after an interception, maybe some quarterbacks will get down a little. I think when something bad happens to this guy, instead of getting down, he gets up.
Tosses it to Barber. And Barber almost gets dragged down from behind. Jenkins had him by the back of the shirt. And then Aaron Rouse comes in to finish him off after a gain of 3 for Marion. 2nd and 7. The offensive coordinator for the Cowboys, that's Jason Garrett, who did such a masterful job last year. So good, in fact, that he was interviewed by the Ravens and by the Falcons, and might have had either job, which wound up one going to John Harbaugh, the other going to Mike Smith, but opted to stay in Dallas as the offensive coordinator under Wade Phillips.
Yeah, he'll get a lot more opportunity.
His day will come. 2nd and 7. Romo. And Romo spinning away, avoids the sack, gets it off to Barber, but the ball is hit up into the air and then winds up in the arms of Tony Curtis, the tight end who just happened to be in the area, and there is a flag down.
There's probably an offensive lineman downfield after all that stuff.
Mike Carey.
Before the pass, holding, defense number 21, decline. The play results in a first down.
Charles Woodson with defensive holding declined, and it turns out to be a gain of 23.
Because they'd rather keep this play. But pretty good pass protection. Then it broke down. Then Romo makes a spin, makes a throw. The ball comes out, and they recover it and pick a first down.
Brandon Schiller forced the fumble. And the fortunate carom is Barber. Takes it to the 50-yard line. Barber tonight has now carried 10 times, 55 yards. We go to Andrea.
Well, right now the Packers defense playing without cornerback Al Harris, who's in the locker room getting an IV. His body cramped up. They say he is expected to return. I'll tell you guys, not a lot of air down here. It feels very humid.
Remember, Harris got hurt earlier, was out for a couple of plays, then made a nice tackle prior to the Collins interception, was holding his wrist or arm. So he's back in the locker room. We'll check on him as the Cowboys come up on a 2nd down and 8. In the meantime, Tramon Williams takes Harris's spot at one corner, and that pass is broken up by Brandon Schiller, who's been all over the place now. Intended for Martellus Bennett, the rookie tight end out of Texas A&M, picked in the 2nd round. The guy who backs up Witten and sometimes plays in a double tight end set with him.
You know, and that's what they picked up Brandon Schiller for. He's a good special teams guy and a good cover guy as a linebacker. So they picked him up to handle tight ends, to cover backs out of the backfield, and he's very, very good at it. He's playing in there now for Brady Papinga.
One of their few additions in the offseason. They also, of course, went after Pac-Man Jones after he'd been suspended for a year by the league because he couldn't stay away from the police blotter. 3rd down and 8. And Romo will go down at the 46-yard line, and that's Cullen Jenkins who will get the sack. So pressure put on by the Green Bay defense.
Yeah, I was talking how Tony Romo keeps plays alive, keeps moving, never gives up. These two pass rushers are the same kind of guys. Watch Campman there. I mean, he is blocked, he's blocked. Cullen Jenkins is blocked, but they keep working, and they come up with a sack. Look at Charles Woodson here on TO. I mean, he said he's going to be physical. He's always been a physical type guy, and as this game goes, he's getting more physical.
Matt McBriar, one of the best kickers in the league, with a shank. And that one will go out of bounds near the 30. They'll mark it at the 29-yard line. McBriar with a 24-yard kick. It's Packer Alumni Weekend. A lot of the old Packers coming back. Jerry Kramer standing up right there. I wonder if Bart Starr's in the house following him.
Fuzzy Thurston down there below. Those were the old famed Green Bay sweep. Those were the two guards that led it.
The ice ball between these two teams. New Year's Eve 67. Rodgers buying time, but the secondary does a great job when he just throws it into the Dallas bench, which is perfectly legal. No grounding when you're out of the pocket. Jay Ratliff put the pressure on it. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, and that's the way that he's going to be sure that he doesn't lose anything, because once you get outside the pocket, then you can throw the ball away as long as it goes back to the line of scrimmage, even though it's out of bounds.
65 rushing yards for the Dallas Cowboys, 56 by Barber. Total yards about even.
Packers like this shotgun and spread a lot, don't they?
2nd and 10 as the pressure was put on by Greg Ellis, and again the sack is avoided. The pass is caught by Jordy Nelson, the rookie out of Kansas State, and there's a penalty marker.
That was amazing that he avoided that sack, because Greg Ellis came free. No one blocked him.
This one is against Green Bay.
Ellis is upset. You don't get a lot of those shots.
Offense number 65. 10-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
That's Mark Tauscher. You mentioned they love to spread it out. Last year, and again, of course, it was with Favre in the backfield, they had an empty backfield more than any team in the league.
And I think they're going to have the same thing this year. I mean, kind of Mike McCarthy, that's his system. He believes that, you either spread them out and get 4 and 5 receivers out there, empty backfield, or you come in tight, keep 2 tight ends in the backfield, maximum protection, play pass, those kinds of things. So he has 2 systems within one.
McCarthy in his 3rd season, 6 defensive backs here, and they're going to run an inside draw with Ryan Grant. Rodgers in the shotgun through 2 games. That rating is the highest in the league, so they love to spread it out. They love to work out of the gun. Rodgers tonight would be 7 of his first 11 for 83 yards.
And that's what more teams are trying to find a way to run the ball from the shotgun, like they just did on the previous play, running a draw from shotgun.
3rd and 6.
This will not be a run here.
No, that's Brandon Jackson in there to block, or maybe to receive on 3rd down and 16. Rodgers will throw it to the outside, but that'll be well shy of the 1st down as Greg Jennings collects his 5th pass of the night out to the 34-yard line, and they'll punt.
I think Rodgers isn't going to make a lot of mistakes. He's not going to force something. He's not going to say, well, it's 16, I'll pick up 20 or 25 here. He probably knew that he couldn't do that. I'll just take a little chunk here, put my punter in a better position.
And this is Frost punting to Adam Jones, and the one-time Pac-Man at the 17 with a flag down. So this may be exciting, but it's going to probably come back. And there is Jones breaking tackles. There's another flag that's thrown. In fact, there are 3 flags on the field for 2 separate penalties.
And when you think that both of those penalties, there's another flag just went down
at the end.
When you think that those penalties are against the Cowboys,
maybe every one of them,
I would guess. Plus a hat.
4 flags, 1 hat, and a beanbag.
You know, that used to be the order that an official would use. The flag would come first. If he saw something second, it would be the beanbag, and the hat was third. I saw a game the other day where the hat was second.
There are 2 fouls on the team, both of them by the returning team. Illegal block in the back, number 80 is declined. Illegal block on the back, number 19 is accepted. 10-yard penalty, first down, timeout.
Penalty on Austin. Yep. Alumni night at Lambeau. Well, down Lake Michigan we'll go next week into Soldier Field. The Chicago Bears trying to regroup against the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles knocked off the Steelers today, and the Bears squandered a 10-point lead late. Take a look at that. McNabb, some of the numbers for Donovan. The rookie for Chicago, a good day on the ground, but Greasy with over 400 yards through the air coming back into Chicago. Bryan leading Tampa Bay to an overtime win. From the 12-yard line, this drive begins with Barber banging his way out to the 22-yard line. Tough is Marion Barber III.
Right, we talk about him finishing games and being a closer. He also finishes runs. I mean, he's going to get the first hit in, the middle hit in, and very definitely the last hit. To me, the greatest guy that ever did that was Walter Payton. I mean, he believed at the end of a run, he was going to make the defender pay for it. And I think Marion Barber has that same attitude, which you will always take.
Here he goes again, his father, you'll recall, back in the 80s with the New York Jets in the mid-80s. And Marion's father, Marion Barber Jr., was a great star at Minnesota, the same school, of course, that produced Marion III. And he right now has already carried the ball tonight a dozen times for 72 yards.
And I'll tell you, T.O. has only caught one pass for 5 yards.
2nd and 4. And of course, the minute you mention his name, you know it's going to happen, right? To the 40-yard line and a first down. The minute you say, you know, so-and-so isn't involved, bang.
Right, and because, you know, they're thinking the same thing, that, you know, that we better get him involved. And here you see just for a second Charles Woodson lost it because he put Witten across his face and he looked at Witten, and then T.O. was able to sneak open.
Single back set. This time it is Felix Jones. And Jones is able to get around Woodson. Inside the 40, inside the 30, the 20, the 10. Touchdown for the rookie from Arkansas. 60 yards for Felix Jones. Boy, I'll say that's a change of pace from Barber.
Right, that's exactly what they want from Felix Jones. Have Barber hit him, and then Jones outrun him. This is what they call a scissors play. They have 2 backs, or they start a lead to one side and then just bring it all the way back to the other side. You get the linebackers flowing. When he starts to the right, all the linebackers flow, and then he gets around to the other side. But it all starts right here with this block here. Your tight end has to get the end man on the line of scrimmage.
Fault for the extra point. Jones scored a touchdown the first time he carried the ball as a pro against Cleveland 2 weeks ago. Now he rambles for 60, and Dallas has the lead by 4. Knight Rider premieres Wednesday with even more action and muscle in the movie. You can watch it on NBC Wednesday night at 8 Eastern and Pacific, 7 Central and Mountain. Knight Rider. This is a short kick, and it's a bouncing ball, and it's going to be Blackman who has trouble collecting it. And because of that, he'll get pinned back at his own 13-yard line by Keith Davis as we go back to Felix Jones, the rookie from Arkansas, who has now scored a touchdown in each of his first 3 games as a Dallas Cowboy.
You know what the Cowboy players call him? The oldest looking rookie in the history of the NFL. They're always on him.
Kind of like the LeBron James of the NFL.
I mean, he can sure run, can't he? He took that play to the right, bent it all the way around to the left, made Charles Woodson miss the tackle, picked up a good block by Witten, ran in the end zone.
Remember when LeBron came in, he looked like he was in his 8th year in the league.
He still may be.
Yes. The ball is up to the 16-yard line by Ryan Grant, who picks up 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7.
What happened, I think the Packers got away from their run a little. They started to go to that big 4, the 4 wide receivers and spread and shotgun, and then they got away from their run. They had some success with it early. And I'm sure someone said something to them, okay, let's come back in tight again like they are here. Go a little 2-back, which is their other offense, and get some running going and some play action pass.
2nd and 7. Here's Grant again as Grant takes it up to the 20-yard line, ticking down toward the 5-minute remaining mark of the first half.
I was talking about a tight end that can block, and it's the same thing with a pass rusher that can play the run. Watch 94, DeMarcus Ware there. I mean, he plays it the way you're supposed to play it. You take on that blocker. That's not much of a blocker, though, and then you play off him and come in and make the tackle. Donald Lee was trying to block him. Key word, trying.
Ware, number 1 choice out of Troy in 05.
And now he is flip-flopping. He's over here on the left side now.
Blitz. Rodgers buys time. Rolling all the way back to the 2-yard line. Then throws a duck that almost gets intercepted up at the 20-yard line. That was Chris Canty who was back there.
DeMarcus Ware chasing you will make you throw ducks. And he was right on him. As I said, he lined up in the left side. He's over here on this side right here. And you see that Rodgers gets to the outside. But watch DeMarcus Ware there. Close on him, close on him, close on him. And that made the duck come out.
Almost duck season. Here's Derek Frost, the ex-Redskin punter, with a line drive fielded at the 42-yard line by Jones. And Pac-Man Jones brings it back to the 50-yard line. 4:21 remaining in the first half. 10-6. Cowboys.
I've prepared myself. I've played against Charles Woodson when I was in San Francisco. I played against him twice. I'm bigger, I'm better, and I'm faster than I was when I played against him those times.
Owens talking about Woodson. He knew all of the numbers each time he faced him. We went back and looked it up, and they did match up. You don't know exactly how much Woodson was on him, how much help he got over the top, and all of the rest. But Owens has had success against Charles. There's no question about it. To the 47-yard line, that pass winds up in the arms of Marion Barber, who gets taken down by A.J. Hawk, the linebacker.
And he has, and he quoted the stats, but he's not having big stats so far tonight. Charles Woodson is doing a good job against him.
Owens has caught 2 balls for 17 yards. Witten's caught 2. Barber's caught 2. And Romo has been limited to 41 yards passing in the half.
And Charles Woodson didn't practice one play all week.
Broken toe, has it wrapped and nurses it. This is Marion Barber, who gets whacked again by A.J. Hawk in on the play.
And I would think 3rd down's not a good down for it, but somewhere you take a shot to T.O. from this position on the field and one of those deep crossing type things. And I would think not on 3rd down, as I said, but if they get a 1st down here, then taking a big shot on 1st down would be the play.
Owens is going to come out to the slot on the left. Creighton's going to be to the outside of him. And you've got Woodson on Owens. And Romo's going to throw over the middle, and he's going to throw it into the arms of the tight end Whitmer. So he goes to the man who's money in the bank for him, the tight end, roaming over the middle, takes it to the 23, and a 1st down off a 3rd and 5 for Wade Phillips' club.
And it all starts with the pass protection. We talked about this. 3rd down pass rush. This is what the Packers have to get. They haven't get. If you give Tony Romo that kind of time in the pocket, that clean a pocket with these receivers, he's going to eat you up.
Owens now top of the screen along the sideline and motioning to the inside. Barber slung down at the 20-yard line by Brandon Chiller. And we will go to the 2-minute warning. Barber has carried 14 times for 77 yards. 2 minutes to play in the first half at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin on Sunday Night Football. Dallas 10, Green Bay 6. Bob, Chris, and Dan will take you through all the highlights for Week 3. New England's shocking loss to Miami. A lot of great stuff. The U.S.'s first Ryder Cup win in 9 years. So at a halftime show coming up at the half. 60,000 flags at Lambeau Field. 2 minutes to play. In the opening half, it's 2nd down and 7 as Romo retreats. To the outside he goes, and he winds up hitting his tight end, Tony Curtis, a little short of the first down. He stopped there by Brandon Chiller, setting up 3rd down and inches.
Yeah, Tony Curtis, because they don't have a fullback, is playing fullback. And so they'll go 2 tight ends or 3 tight ends, but when they do, Tony Curtis is coming out of the backfield from the fullback position as he did on that last play.
Under a minute and a half. Cowboys have 2 timeouts. To Barber. And Barber is able to find enough of a crease and then almost lost the ball. Is able to collect it again as he picks up the first down. And it's a first down at the 12-yard line.
Cowboys decided, at least in this first half, that they're going to run right, aren't they? And I think when you have a guard that weighs 350 pounds like Leonard Davis right here, I think somehow you want to get in behind him. When Leonard Davis starts down, he kind of takes a whole bunch of green jerseys with him and yellow pants.
No need to hurry with 2 timeouts. First down from the 11-yard line. Romo over the middle, throws to Barber, and there is Barnett, who's able to tackle him at the 5-yard line. And now the Dallas Cowboys will spend a timeout. They'll have 1 remaining and 30 seconds on the clock with a 2nd down coming up. Sunday Night Football is being brought to you by Turbo HD, by Dish Network, by Diet Pepsi Max, maximum taste, maximum energy, 0 calories, by Toyota and the line of scrimmage, and by McDonald's. Lombardi Avenue, Bart Starr Drive. There was an interesting piece in one of the papers here about the legends. Curly Lambeau, named for Curly Lambeau, but at the end, they didn't, they weren't in love with Curly, and he wound up getting fired in effect and going to the Chicago Cardinals. Lombardi retires, puts Phil Bankston in. That didn't work, and then Vince goes to Washington. Bart Starr, they loved him as a player, but didn't like him as a coach, and now you've got the whole Favre thing. Very interesting with the legends.
Oh yeah, there's been a lot of stuff going on with the legends. And, talking about them though, and seeing that shot of Jerry Kramer. Every time that I hear that he's not in the Hall of Fame, that amazes me. I mean, I thought that Jerry Kramer has been in the Hall of Fame for 30 years.
That's what people thought about you. Remember when you went into the Hall of Fame? They said, well, John's in the Hall of Fame. You're right about Kramer. 2nd and 4. The ball is at the 5-yard line. Out of the gun. Takes the inside give. Romo under pressure, and Romo gets sacked and fumbles at the 20-yard line. And Mike Carey will take a look, and it's Dallas's ball. So they're able to hold on to it as Cullen Jenkins came in and created the sack. The clock will now stop with 15 seconds. Flozell Adams, the left tackle, saves the bacon for Dallas.
I think Tony Romo stayed with the fake too long. It was a 2nd down play, and he really rode that fake in there. The old belly play. I mean, he put it in the belly and rode it in too far. Then he couldn't get out. Watch this and see how far he rides it in. And now when he comes out, there's no one to throw to. His protection breaks down, and there's Cullen Jenkins.
And then at the end of the play, the Cowboys will spend their last timeout.
Did his hand get caught in his jersey? He started up with that ball. See here, the problem with that ball fake is he puts his eyes down too, and now he has to come up and relocate the coverage, and then the pass protection falls apart on him. And what did you say? Flozell Adams saved his bacon?
Flozell saved. He's had some bacon during his career. He saved it as well.
Didn't his nickname used to be Flozell, the hotel?
The hotel,
the
certainly
hotel,
was,
yeah.
yep. And you know what? When your nickname used to be, it still is.
Well, you know, I think, you know, everyone got big around him. You know, he was a big guy. Oh, look at Flozell Adams. He's the biggest man in the world. And then the guys around him got bigger than he was, so I think maybe you drop that hotel.
He's just a motel now, right?
And then the hotel's over on the other side, number 70.
Leonard Davis.
Yeah, there's your hotel.
Meanwhile, it's 3rd down and 20. They just spent their last timeout.
Now this is where, you know, you want to take a shot in the end zone, but you don't want to force anything. You don't want to do anything stupid here if you're the Cowboys.
Right, you want to make sure there's enough time for a field goal attempt. So you got to work the end zone or the sidelines, and they work the end zone, and incomplete. Pressure put on that time by Cullen Jenkins. He looked for Creighton, and because of that sack, that takes him back out to a position where this is not quite a chip shot field goal, but obviously very makeable for a guy like Falk from 39 yards.
But Tony Romo was thinking the same thing. I'm not going to force anything here. I'm not going to do anything stupid here. So he just threw it out of the end zone.
11 seconds on the clock. 39-yard field goal attempt. And Falk's kick is good. With 7 ticks remaining, and the Dallas Cowboys have extended their lead to a touchdown. 13-6. Well, it's Dallas and Green Bay, the Ice Bowl, the fabled game back on New Year's Eve of 1967 with the wind chill, whatever you wanted it to be, minus 50. There was Vince Lombardi on the sideline, and Tom Landry, a classic game. Dan Reeves threw a touchdown pass out of the backfield to Lance Rensel. And then on the final series, there was Kramer leading the way for Starr to give the Green Bay Packers the championship. One of the great games in the history of the National Football League. And there is Bart Starr here tonight.
Bart Starr, not only one of the great ones, but one of the classiest of all the great ones.
Very much so. Alumni weekend in Packerville. Here's Falk to kick off. And he'll squib this one down the middle. Collected at the 19 by Will Blackman. And he'll be taken down with no time left on the clock. So that'll do it as the teams head to the locker rooms. The Dallas Cowboys at the half, leading the Green Bay Packers 13-6. Coming up next on the other side of the break, Bob Costas leading the way on the Toyota halftime show from New York.
They had us on their turf last year, and now it's our turn to get them up here at Lambeau. I think it's going to be a big measuring stick for us because, you know, you got 2 high-powered offenses, 2 high-powered defenses. You got to find some way to, you know, slow them down.
We want to dictate to the offense, not let them dictate to us.
There's no question that we're going to find out where we are as a football team going against a team of Dallas' stature.
This is a primetime stage for everyone. You know, the stars are out. You got the Dallas Cowboys against the Green Bay Packers.
And as we start the second half, Al Michaels, John Madden, Andrea Kramer at Lambeau Field. You look at Terrell Owens, who was limited to 2 catches in the first half. Rodgers, meanwhile, 8 out of 13 for 94 yards. Green Bay limited to 2 field goals, and Dallas on top by 7. And Dallas won the toss and then deferred, which means they will now get the ball as we start the second half at Lambeau Field on a 64-degree evening. And into the end zone goes the kick, taken there by Felix Jones. And let's check in with Andrea.
Well, I talked to Packers head coach Mike McCarthy at halftime. He said he liked the effort of his team, but he said that there were some alignment problems on defense, especially against the run. And they are still banged up on the defensive side of the ball. Al Harris, who spent most of the first half in the locker room, got another IV. He hopes to have him back. Nick Collins got banged up when he was hit in the back. And I'll tell you one thing, guys, it's very humid down here, about 90% right now. A lot of players took oxygen in the first half.
And yet we're pretty lucky, as we say, because you come into a place like Lambeau. Of course, it's September, but temperature right now a comfortable 64 degrees, but as Andrea says, very humid. And we look for Al Harris and don't see him to start the second half. Tramon Williams, number 38, is in the game. Cowboys go 3 wide here. Come up in the eye, and they hand the ball off to Marion Barber. And Barber starts the second half with an 8-yard run. Tackled there by Aaron Rouse.
Yeah, as you said, Terrell Owens has only caught a couple of passes, and Charles Woodson has really done a good job on him. Now, I will say this, he has help over the top, and we see that safety sitting there all the time, but because that safety is sitting there, Charles Woodson can be very physical with Terrell Owens and not let them get into any rhythm.
Here goes Barber again, and he picks up a first down and another gain of close to 8 yards. So Marion Barber gets tripped up by the safety, Aaron Rouse, and Barber is on his way to a triple-digit night. 17 carries now for 96 yards.
You know, Andrew was saying that Mike McCarthy said that they had some problems with their alignments and their run fits, and the Cowboys probably saw that too and said, look, we let them off the hook by not running as much as we should, so let's start pounding the ball at them a little.
Witten sets up as the blocking back here, then becomes the receiver to the outside and gets taken down, and almost Aaron Rouse almost wound up with a personal foul. Just didn't let go in time.
I don't know how that Witten can weigh anything anymore. The way he runs and how hard he plays. I mean, he plays as a tight end. He's in the backfield. He's in a slot. He's running deep patterns. He's blocking defensive ends. I mean, I said after watching the film last week, he ought to get 2 paychecks.
Timeout for a Packer injury. We'll check this out in a second.
Here's some of the things that Witten does. I mean, you just see him there. He was 3 wide receivers out there. Then he goes in motion, gets in the backfield, then comes out of the backfield and catch that pass. I mean, he probably ran 15 or 20 yards before he ever touched the ball.
Witten tying Bob Hayes, number 6 on the all-time list. That was Brandon Schiller, who was down on the grass for a second, but Schiller comes over to the bench. Grady Papinga takes his spot.
Usually when you come out of the game and you get in that stance, you've had the wind knocked out of you.
Yep. And we'll be back in shortly. 2nd and 4. And there's Barber, and this time he cannot get around A.J. Hawk. Heralded college career at Ohio State. Hawk, the #1 pick back in 2006.
And the safety, Aaron Rouse, was up there too. And that was one of the things that defensive coordinator Bob Sanders said that he didn't want to do. You know, we talked about keeping the safeties back there for the play action pass and not having to bring one up to help with the run. So he wanted to handle the run with the front 7 and handle the pass rush with the front 4. And this is where it's big. On 3rd down, can these 4 guys put the pressure on Tony Romo?
And you have Barber and Jones flanking Romo in the shotgun. Creighton goes in motion. Everybody into the pattern. And Romo's pass is incomplete, intended for Owens. He's covered that time by Tramon Williams, and it will be 4th down.
This is the type of thing that I think they have to do is put Terrell Owens on those deep crosses, because that's the thing that he can run well, and there was a linebacker out there and he had to throw it in a pretty tight gap, but I think he could have made a better throw.
Matt McBriar, whose first punt was a 24-yard shank. This is a whole lot better. Taken by Will Blackman from the 6. Brings it back to the 12-yard line. Martellus Bennett making the stop after a 53-yard McBriar boot.
The benefits of waiting 3 years to be the starter were that I got to come along at my own pace and learn the offense, learn defenses, watch a lot of film on different quarterbacks around the league and different defenses, and not have any pressure on me to perform week in and week out.
Much like, as we say, Tony Romo, who didn't throw a pass in his first 3 years as a member of the Dallas Cowboys. At least Rodgers got to play a good part of the game that was against Dallas last year and looked good as Ryan Grant starts for the game at 5. And John, I love what Rodgers told us the other day. We were talking about, how does the town respond to you, and what was it like when you're going through the whole thing, and Brett's thinking about coming back. And he said, everybody in the town was excited about the team, but very anxious about me.
And I think that was the truth. I mean, you take the team and said, okay, where was the team a year ago? Well, they were 1 game away from the Super Bowl. They were in a championship game. Okay, the quarterback was Brett Favre. Now it's Aaron Rodgers. Is it the same team?
And this time the ball carrier is Brandon Jackson, who picks up a first down of the 26. We go to Andrea.
Well, and more on Rodgers, I asked him what he learned during his 3-year apprenticeship under Favre, and now he took copious notes and he built quite a collection of journals. The main thing he told me he learned from observing Favre was that he got an image of what greatness looks like firsthand. He also learned about anticipation, the way to move defenders around with his eyes and see his second and third receivers come open.
And right now it's at the 26-yard line, 8 out of 13 tonight from 94 yards. Give the ball to Jackson, and Jackson swings to the outside. It's a nice move, avoids a tackle by Henry, and finally gets wrestled out of bounds after a gain of 7 by Brady James. Brandon Jackson, the number 2 pick out of Nebraska last year.
I like what the Packers are doing now. They got back to their running game. They got away from that. Remember, they were going to spread to 4 wide receivers, and they were going to shotgun and that stuff. And now they come back, the 2 tight ends, the back, the running game, and this is their other offense, and I kind of like this one. I like the combination of both, really.
From the 34. And they called Jackson's number again, and he'll slug his way out to the 37-yard line to move the chains before he's tackled by Greg Ellis.
You're right. He did slug his way out. That was it, because it looked like they had him stopped. It looked like it wasn't going to be a first down. He just kept going, and that's what good backs do when they get in those situations. They never stop their feet.
So they go to Jackson. He does the job. 3 nice runs. Now Grant comes back into the game.
Everything they do from this formation is play action pass.
Give it to Grant. So 4 straight runs, and Ryan Grant brings it out to the 41-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 6.
When you talk to Wade Phillips about his defense, he really likes this guy right here, Ratliff. He said that Jay Ratliff of the defensive linemen is his best. He played him. He was a defensive end last year, and he tried to find the spot to get him in. Ferguson, the nose tackle, goes down, so they put him at nose tackle. And just watching him in film, he really has become a pretty good nose tackle this year.
Had a really good year. Off to a good start this season. On 2nd down and 6, Rodgers is going to get taken down by DeMarcus Ware just about the line of scrimmage. And it'll be 3rd down and 6 now.
You see Ratliff, he's kind of offset there, and anytime he is offset to that side, that means DeMarcus Ware is coming from the other side. See, he's offset to the left. That means that DeMarcus Ware is going to come from the right. It looks like the Packers know that. They just can't get it blocked. I mean, DeMarcus Ware and Chad Clifton, that's a pretty good war out there.
Actually gained about a half yard on the play. 3rd down, long 5 from the 42-yard line.
6 defensive backs.
And a 4-man rush. And Rodgers has time and throws deep and has a man, and it's caught by Donald Driver. And Driver with a great move at the 10, taken down at the 8-yard line for a 1st and goal. Got by Ken Hamlin for a 50-yard reception on a 3rd down play.
And they're getting the shotgun here. This is a maximum protection look. Keep the back and the tight end in. Move Rodgers a little. Get him over to the right so he has time with the protection. Then he buys a little more time. Then he can get this deep one to Donald Driver. That one was a big part of their plan. Okay, we're going to go maximum protection here, and we're going to take a shot.
Ran by Pac-Man Jones, and then was able to get by Hamlin, and now this is Ryan Grant taking it to the 6-yard line. So a 50-yard gain on a 3rd down and 5.
That was a gutsy call there, because you're only going to have 1 or 2 receivers out there. You don't have a whole bunch of reads. The guy's either going to be open and you're going to hit him, or it's going to be an incomplete pass.
Brandon Jackson back in the game.
Cowboys were trying to get 2 men in on defense in the substitution. They couldn't make it.
Now Lee sets up the pass protection. Rodgers will roll. And then Rodgers will step out of bounds. Going to mark it at the 8-yard line. It'll be 3rd down, chased by Ware.
Yeah, that was that same thing, that maximum protection, and go to the right to buy a little time. See again, tight end back in the backfield. Take the ball and shotgun, sprint out to the right to buy time. There was no one open. I think he was trying to go to Donald Driver again, but Donald Driver just ran out of sideline. Big play, big play.
3rd and goal. Pressure. Henry is able to get enough of him coming in from the corner. He had a lot of time, and then Anthony Henry, coming from his left corner spot, was able to get just enough of Rodgers to bring him to the ground. 4th down.
And you're going to see him coming from the right side of the screen right there, free. Now Rodgers tried to step up. That's what he has to do. He has to step up. This is what he's looking at. And again, good coverage by the Cowboys. That's it. I mean, he had no place to go with it quickly or right now. He had to hold it, and then Anthony Henry got there.
And this is a 33-yard field goal attempt by Crosby. That is good. So a 50-yard pass to Driver, but they have to settle for the field goal. And Dallas still leads, now by 4. A reminder, the new season of Heroes begins tomorrow. It starts with a 3-hour event. There are the times right there. Heroes on NBC tomorrow night. 13-9, Dallas is the score. This kick is fielded at the 1-yard line by Isaiah Stanback, who then flips the ball to Felix Jones. And Blackman is right there, and the ball comes loose. And the Packers are contending they have it, but the official comes in to say, no. Lead down, play over. Dallas will have the ball at the 20-yard line. 5:51 left in the 3rd. Cowboys by 4. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, among other things, getting ready to open up next year in Arlington. The Cowboys' brand new facility. They're playing their final year in Texas Stadium. John, it's one of those things where you go, time flies as a cliche. Because Jerry Jones has now owned the team for 20 seasons. 20.
And Texas Stadium is old, and we need a new one.
Yep. From the 20-yard line, the play fake. And then the pass out to the left side. It's caught by Jason Witten. And Collins will make the tackle at the 25-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 5.
Offensively, the Cowboys never really look like they've gotten into a rhythm. And I think part of it is the job that Charles Woodson is doing on Terrell Owens, or the coverage that they have, because they're not letting them have their way there. And that kind of starts on, we're going to throw to Terrell Owens, and then when you get off and double him, then we're going to hit Whitten, and when you do that, we're going to do this. And they haven't been able to get the first part of the equation going.
2nd and 5. Barber. One thing they have going is the running game. Barber is now over 100. But John, in that secondary for Green Bay, Harris has been in and out of the game tonight. They're minus Atari Bigby, a starter. Woodson's playing with a broken toe, so they really are doing a great job.
Yeah, and this is kind of a draw off a slant. You see, he's going to come up. Tony Romo is going to fake that slant and then come back and hand a draw play. Again, good blocking by the offensive line. Good lead block by the backup tight end, Tony Curtis.
Felix Jones comes in. Barber is out. Barber's now gained 103 yards, averaging better than 5 yards a carry tonight. Romo stepping up, feeling the pressure. Fires over the middle and wide open one is Miles Austin. And Collins will sling him down at the 3 to save the touchdown. But of all guys, Miles Austin, third-year wideout out of Monmouth University, makes the catch. Collins is down.
You're going to see Miles Austin. He's the outside guy right up here coming in motion. He starts in motion, then they get in like a bunch, and he comes across the field on a deep diagonal. The Cowboys run that pattern, whether it's Austin or it's Terrell Owens, they run this pattern better than anyone. It's not a cross, it's not a post, but it's in between. It's a deep diagonal.
Only the 8th career catch for Miles Austin. They have Sam Hurd inactive tonight. Austin doesn't see very much action, and there it is, third year in the league, 8 grabs, none bigger than that one.
And again, good pass protection by the offensive line. Not much of a pass rush by the Packers front four.
And they give it to Barber. And Barber will take the ball inside the 2 to the 1-yard line. And when the Cowboys can get down to the 1-yard line, they figure to give it right back to Barber. He has been tremendous from the 1-yard line. He sort of reminds you of the way Marcus Allen was, and nobody scored more touchdowns from the 1 than did Allen. But Barber, early in his career, on that kind of a pace right there.
Or Emmitt Smith.
Right.
Remember, he used to do the same thing. I mean, Troy Aikman would throw one down to Michael Irvin to the 2-yard line, and Emmitt Smith would run it in. That was Dallas Cowboy football.
Well, this one is actually from the 2, second and goal. 3 minutes to go in the quarter. And they give it to Barber. And whether it's from the 1 or the 2, he will take it into the end zone. Marion Barber on his 22nd carry of the night gives Dallas some breathing room.
You usually don't run a draw play on the 2-yard line, but that was that fake slant, the draw play. Watch number 82, Jason Witten, lead right there. I mean, he can do everything. I mean, he's there. You see, he's up there like a guard. I mean, he's in there, and he makes that. I mean, he makes a great block on Chiller, the linebacker. They usually don't run. I was just going to say, usually don't run a draw on the 2-yard line.
Fault for the extra point. Since 2006, only LaDainian Tomlinson has scored more touchdowns than the man you just saw. Marion Barber. Dallas 20, Green Bay 9. Working on the hand of Dallas center Andre Gerard after the Cowboys came off the field. Scoring the touchdown, Barber taking it into the end zone. And Folk with the kickoff here. Will Blackman from the 7-yard line. Blackman cuts it back inside. There's a flag. And to the 31-yard line, and probably going back after the call by Mike Carey.
During the return, holding, receiving team number 78, 10-yard penalty, keep the ball, first down.
20-9 roll out. I'll tell you one thing, I don't think Terrell Owens would ever wind up in medical school. Sunday Night Football brought to you by the entirely new Audi A4. Progress is beautiful. By the new film Eagle Eye, in theaters Friday, September 26th, rated PG-13. And by DirecTV, now get over 130 of your favorite channels in HD. John, America's Dairyland. We take you behind the scenes.
Yeah, and they just have the cows like a mile away, and then they bring it in and they make the cheese, and it's all right there within a couple of miles, they tell me. I was finished, you know, how they knew when they were finished, like the cheese. I mean, some of that stuff, they have curd and whey and all that stuff, and just said stop, cottage cheese.
Tons of fat grams, I know that. Incomplete, intended for Jennings. Second down.
Well, I mean, the first guy had to make it somewhere and say, okay, that's it, let's eat it. You know, why didn't they go take another step? You know, cook it or something.
How do you know they didn't? How do you know the first few guys didn't die? And then they said, well, we got to keep going.
No, I don't know. But I always think that when they eat cottage cheese, I'm the first guy that made this know when to quit.
How did they come up with this? Second and 10 at the 21. Ryan Grant picking up 3 as we come down toward the end of the third quarter. And the Dallas Cowboys trying to beat the Green Bay Packers for the first time ever in Lambeau Field. Now, they've only played 5 times here, including that Ice Bowl game. But Dallas 0-4 in regular season play. But remember, Green Bay used to play some games in Milwaukee through the mid-90s. The Cowboys actually won 3 times in Milwaukee, but not here. 3rd and 7.
Tried that hard count.
Number 86.
Tried that hard count and got his own guy, Donald Lee.
Got Lee.
And he was trying to get up there and and change the count and hard count him, maybe draw the Cowboys offside, and then his own guy jumps. That's one of the things that drives the coach crazy.
Turns a 3rd and 7 into a 3rd down and 12 from the 19-yard line.
Probably drives a quarterback crazy too.
Against this 6th defensive back alignment, they get enough pressure from Jay Ratliff. Coming up from the middle, the 4th-year man out of Auburn, a gem in the draft, picked in the last round, a 7th-round pick, and Ratliff gets the sack.
He gets a push on number 75, Tony Mall. You're going to see him right here. He just gets square with Mall, pushes him back, then goes arm over and around, and there's Rodgers. Now, had that not happened, had he not gotten that big pass up the middle, Donald Lee was wide open.
Cross with a line drive, low kick, fielded by Jones at the 48. And the Pac-Man looking like Miss Pac-Man, but there's a flag down. He couldn't find the banana. And he's tackled at the 50-yard line by Will Blackman.
During the return, illegal block in the back. The receiving team, number 32. 10-yard penalty, retained possession, 1st down.
Minute and a half to go in the 3rd. Romo coming home to Wisconsin, but on the road. Most wins in a quarterback's first 15 starts on the road. You'd go the Mad Bomber, Darryl LaMonica, John's man, and Otto Graham and Dan Marino. And right now, Romo 12-2 in his career in road games. And tonight, of course, that would tie him with LaMonica for the best mark in their first 15 road games.
Usually you find out that those guys that lead those stats also win a lot of games everywhere.
Yeah, they do. Home sites, neutral sites, and that's Jenkins coming in and blasting Barber in the backfield. Felix Jones with the ball carrier. So Jones, starting this series, gets taken down.
Yeah, you're going to see Cullen Jenkins right up here. He just takes an inside move and then just comes right down the line. I think they were trying to run that delay play, that same play that he made a big run on. Where you start one way, kind of delay, and go back the other way. And when Cullen Jenkins got that pressure and got that in the backfield, there was no way he was going to do anything.
That's a 5-yard loss for the rookie who had a 60-yard touchdown run earlier. And now Romo has to just try to get it away. And the pass is incomplete. The ball is loose, but the play was blown dead. And again, it was Jenkins coming in that time.
Yeah, and this is an area now, 3rd down pass rush, and the Packers really haven't done a very good job on this. And you can either say it that way or say on 3rd down, the Dallas Cowboy offensive line has done a good job of pass protection. But this is a big one here. This 3rd down pass rush for the Packers.
Now they're talking about, I think, grounding here because Romo was in the pocket. He was not outside the tackle box, and they throw the flag. You have to be outside what they call the tackle box.
Intentional grounding. Offense number 9. 10-yard penalty. Loss of down. 3rd down.
Yeah, I was thinking when there was no flag on it, you go back here. He didn't get outside the pocket, and there was no receiver really in the area. He was just trying to dump it.
See, the red lines are the pocket there. So does he get outside those red lines? There's no way. There's no way.
Nope.
There was no one he threw it to, so again, Mike Carey, the referee, didn't call anything at first, and then he threw the flag later.
Yeah, there wasn't even a receiver in the area. The closest guy was a guard, Leonard Davis. So now you have a 3rd down and 25. Jenkins has been a monster on this series.
Well, and Jenkins moves inside. They bring Kabir Bajabia-Miller outside as the outside right rusher. Cullen Jenkins goes and becomes an inside pass rusher on 3rd down.
Now they move Owens around to the slot. Creighton goes to the right side. Austin is wide to the left. 4-man rush. And Romo under pressure again. Will have to swing it off to the right side and incomplete. Marion Barber wouldn't have gone anywhere with it anyway.
I was going to say that was big. They got their rush. I mean, they didn't have it earlier. They didn't have it, in the first half. They weren't getting there. They weren't getting the pressure with that 4-man rush. And on this one, they do get it. I mean, Romo tries to step up. Good coverage downfield. And just as he's starting to set up, Johnny Jolly comes free.
Matt McBriar to do the punting. Blackman is back to run it back.
The Packers could be coming on a punt block.
They're moving. And a flag before the snap. That was a monster kick.
Offense, number 31. 5-yard penalty is still 4th.
Makes it 4th. And McBriar's boot that time went about 55 yards to no avail. It's Mike Jenkins, the rookie.
You know, you usually see 2 guys out here in the gunners, and when you only see 1 guy in each gunner, that means that they have, I'm talking about out here and up here, when there's only 1 out there, then they're going to have an overload and a punt block.
And McBriar, this is another booming kick. That's close to 60 yards. It's taken to the 20-yard line by Blackman. And Blackman can only bring it back to the 26-yard line. It's a 65-yard kick by McBriar. And now Bennett loses his helmet. And Blackman loses his helmet as well. And then here come flags from every direction.
They're going to have to sort this out because it's who started it, who ended it, and you hate to see offsetting. You know, that was one thing, years ago they used to do that, the foul on this team, foul on that team, offsetting, no penalty.
Well, there were two separate flag throwing situations here, which would indicate that one obviously was for the instigator and the other might have been for the respondent.
Unnecessary roughness after the play was over. Receiving team number 88. Half the distance to goal. Push-up.
Jermichael Finley, rookie from Texas, who plays only on special teams, and he just cost them half the distance to the goal line.
Watch him right there. No.
What did you see?
I haven't seen anything yet.
I haven't seen anything either. We took a helmet came loose. Did he take the helmet off one of the Cowboys?
Well, you see the helmet come flying out of there.
Well, here
I haven't
comes the
seen
flag.
it yet. I mean, there's a flag.
I still don't see what the problem was. To the 13-yard line after all that. So McBriar got him out of the hole. Then the penalty. And they push him all the way back deep in their own territory. And this is Ryan Grant. So after a 4th and 33, you get that great kick by McBriar. You get the penalty. And now Green Bay still a long way away as we come to the end of the 3rd quarter. End of 3 at Lambeau Field in Green Bay. The Dallas Cowboys leading the Green Bay Packers by a score of 20-9. And NBC Sunday Night Football will continue after these messages from your local NBC station.
High-definition programming on NBC 26 brought to you in part by Cease Electronics.
In Green Bay, Al Michaels, John Madden, Andrea Kramer. 102,000 people live in the city of Green Bay. Of course, the capacity here is over 60, but they come from all over the state for their Packers. And right now their Pack are in a hole down by 11 points as we start the fourth quarter with a 2nd down and 5 for Green Bay at its own 18-yard line. Brandon Jackson is the running back, and now they will empty the backfield behind Rodgers. And that precipitates a Dallas blitz, and the pass is caught over the middle for a 1st down by Greg Jennings. Anthony Henry makes the tackle on the play.
It was funny, Wade Phillips was saying last night, if they have an empty backfield, we're going to blitz them. They have an empty backfield, they blitz them, the Packers pick it up and hit the slant. The quarterback has to get back and read it. We were talking to Aaron Rodgers the other day. He said he only reads half the field. So he didn't know who he was going to throw it to on the left side, but he was just reading his left side, and he was going to throw it to one of the 2 receivers there.
6 catches made by Jennings. 6 of the 10 completions to him. Here's Rodgers chased. He'll run for the bench and picked up a few yards as Greg Ellis was the first guy to come in, and he ran around him. Dallas, when they have the lead after 3, they're very good at closing things out. Won their last 17 regular season games, and a lot of that, as it goes back to the Parcells era, can be attributed to what we said before about Marion Barber. They would build up that lead, and then they would bring Barber into the game, and he was, as I likened him before, to like Mariano Rivera or some great guy out of the bullpen.
Right, and that's what he is. He's a closer, and that's why I think Felix Jones, in the long run, is going to be pretty important to this Cowboy offense.
2nd and 7. And here's Rodgers, and he's going to try to run for the first, and he'll come up a couple of yards shy. Tackled at the 35-yard line by Zach Thomas, setting up a 3rd down and 2.
Again, he was reading the right side there and didn't have anything open, so he moved in the pocket, and he kept looking downfield, but still didn't have anything.
So Mike McCarthy, 3rd year. You look at Wade Phillips was actually one of the finalists for this job in 06. McCarthy, Phillips, and Jim Bates were the 3 guys at the end. 3rd and 2 from the 35. And of course Wade winds up leaving San Diego to go to Dallas, and the pass over the middle is incomplete. He tried to quickly get it to Donald Driver, and it will be 4th down.
Yeah, he opened up again, and the Cowboys came on a blitz, and as you said, he had to get rid of it quickly, but they made him get rid of it, I think, a little quicker than he really wanted to. I mean, here comes the pressure. That was pretty good. I mean, he just didn't have really anyone open.
And Derek Frost, who was cut by Washington at the end of the preseason schedule, sends that one all the way into the end zone. 65 gross, 45 net. Dallas has the ball back, leading 20-9.
Jason Witten is just as good as it gets. You know, a teammate, a professional, and just, you know, he just does things the right way all the time. Marion Barber is a great back. He's very physical, and he understands that at the end of the game, sometimes it's on him, you know, to close out the game.
Not only closing it out, but when you look at Barber tonight, he's already carried the ball 21 times for 106 yards, has scored a touchdown, and right now he will begin on the bench. Felix Jones, the rookie who had the 60-yard touchdown run earlier, is in the backfield. Jones. You know, John, we talked about Jerry Kramer, and people think he's in the Hall of Fame. Do you know who's never won an Emmy until tonight? Don Rickles won an Emmy tonight.
Oh,
his first ever.
Congratulations to Don Rickles. Is that right?
I saw him the other night. He said he was so nervous. That must have been an acceptance speech for the ages.
Those two things don't go together, Rickles and nervous.
No, they don't.
He usually makes other people nervous.
Thrilled for him.
Yeah, I am too.
2nd down and 8 at the 22-yard line. Jones, big gaping hole to the left side, and a 9-yard gallop for a first down before he's tackled by Charles Woodson.
You know, he can run that play where you start one side and then you go to the other side. See, it's like it's going to be a lead back here to the right, and all the blocking goes to the right, so the linebackers go to the right, and he just runs away from it to the other side. And he makes the corner make that play. On the touchdown play, Charles Woodson didn't make the play.
Dallas with 182 rushing yards tonight. Romo, that pump fake, and then he goes deep into coverage, and he's batted away by Williams. Intended deep downfield for Miles Austin.
Williams is doing a good job, you know, because Al Harris, their other, you know, top all-pro corner, isn't in there, so Williams has had to take that other guy. Now we know that Woodson is on TO, and then Williams has to be the man-to-man guy on the other receiver, where TO's guy will get help. This guy doesn't get any help.
2nd and 10. Owens tonight, 2 catches, 17 yards. He's in the slot to the right side, and Romo is going to sling it off to the left, and Jones bobbles it but then holds on. Brandon Schiller makes the tackle. He stopped inbounds at the 35-yard line as the clock ticks down to 11 minutes to play in the 4th.
You know, we were talking about Marion Barber and, you know, closing the game and finishing out. I think that's why they tried to give him a little rest there so that they could keep him for the end of the game when they just needed to run the clock out and not have them all worn out and beaten down.
3rd and 7.
Now the Packers need their pass rush here.
Blitz coming from Hawk. Romo gets it away, beats the blitz, throws complete. He goes to Jason Witten, who gets tackled by Williams, and that'll move the chains.
Yeah, you see A.J. Hawk did come free. He's going to come right up the middle, right here. He just got bumped off a little, but you can just see that Romo, he's not looking at him because you have to continue to look downfield. But he knows that A.J. Hawk is coming, and then he throws that ball, completes it, and gets out of the way.
On a diagonal. Marion Barber is the back. On a draw. Barber to the 42-yard line. Well, he's a stud. Pepra makes the stop.
I'll say this, is the Packer offense did not help their defense. You know, by going 3 and out, you know, and not staying on the field, they've left this defense on the field too long, and you can see with this big offensive line of the Cowboys, this defense is wearing down. There's Mark Colombo on Campman. Barber goes right by him. But they just gave the Cowboys too many shots at this defense. Cullen Jenkins hasn't even been in there.
From the 42, and that's Owens dropping it. And that gives the crowd one of the few reasons to get excited about something here in the second half.
I think Terrell Owens has really matured a lot. You know, I mean, over the years, watching when he was at San Francisco, if he had this kind of night, he may not be as happy as he is right now at Philadelphia. Maybe the same. Maybe his first year at Dallas, but I think with this coaching staff and with Jason Garrett, with Tony Romo, I think he's really become a team player.
2 touchdowns last week against Philadelphia. 2nd down and 10 from the 42-yard line. Blitz again. Romo throws it away, and the pass is incomplete. There's a flag thrown at the 50-yard line.
We saw that first blitz was a linebacker, A.J. Hawk. That one was middle linebacker, Nick Barnett.
Now a second flag just got tossed.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Holding, offense, number 65, is declined. Intentional grounding, offense, number 9, reception. 10-yard penalty, loss of down, 3rd down.
Yeah, that takes the down with it. And Wade Phillips says, what are you talking about?
Well, I know what Tony Romo is thinking. You know, they said, you know, be smart and don't do anything stupid. And if you don't have something, just throw it away. Well, you can't just throw it away if there's not a receiver there, and unless you're out of the tackle box. So those two, you know, it's not always possible. And the rules make you stay in there and throw it to a receiver. If you don't do that, then you have to get outside the tackle box. Then you can throw it away.
Romo, making his 29th start and 31st NFL appearance, had never been charged with intentional grounding until tonight, and now he's been called for it twice in the last few minutes.
I know what he's thinking. You know, we have this game. We have everything under control. Our offensive line is doing a good job. Their defense is getting tired. We have the momentum. I just don't want to do anything to give the momentum back to them.
3rd and 20. Stepping up. Going deep, and again it is caught by Miles Austin for a touchdown. Tony Romo feeling the pressure, stepping up and going deep downfield, in the second huge catch of the night for Miles Austin. 52 yards.
That's what I was saying about Tony Romo. I mean, he does something, he gets a penalty for intentional grounding. He comes back, he's excellent in the pocket at doing that. Feeling the rush, stepping up, keeping his eyes downfield, and still making a big play.
Little hurdle move. There is Williams, who gets beaten on the play down the sideline. Rouse coming over to help too late. A 52-yard touchdown earlier. He made a catch that was good for 63 yards, and the extra point by Folk is good. And the Dallas Cowboys have rung up 27 on the Pack and lead by 18. Jay Leno, the Tonight Show this week, among others. Charlize Theron will be on. Zach Levy, Wanda Sykes, Dr. Phil will be there on the Tonight Show this week with Jay. Nick Folk to kick off. This is Blackman from the 6-yard line. Cowboys been covering kicks very well tonight until now, and even in this case they're going to get away with it because there is a flag on the play, and this one is going to be coming back. And there is one Miles Austin, mainly a special teams player, a guy who would be number 4 on the depth chart when it comes to wideouts, with Owens and Creighton obviously being one. Sam Hurd inactive tonight.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both of them on the return team. Holding number 55 is declined, and holding number 57 accepted. 10 yards, first down.
So Miles Austin has been the man, along with Barber and Romo, and the Cowboys up 27-9.
Like sports?
Over 71,000 is the attendance tonight at Lambeau Field, but they're not having a very good time at the moment because the Dallas Cowboys have come in here and broken open a close game, and that's Austin and Romo. Austin tonight with 2 huge receptions, and the last one right there could have been the backbreaker. And you know, at a certain point, attrition begins to make you pay the price for the Packers. Their secondary was doing a pretty good job for most of the game, but then Williams and Rouse, the 2 guys beaten on that last play, are in for Harris and Bigby, who are hurt.
And they've been playing pretty well, Williams and Rouse, but they just had to play too long. I mean, this Packer offense did not help their defense at all.
Brandon Jackson is the back. And here's Rodgers under pressure, and Rodgers is going to dump it off, and that pass is incomplete as DeMarcus Ware forced the issue. Andrea.
You know, one more thing that's interesting about Miles Austin is that he sprained his right medial collateral ligament in the 2nd preseason game. In fact, didn't even play week 1, so he's still healing for all intents and purposes. Played last week, but it's amazing when you consider what he's done tonight, guys.
Yeah, he said career game, obviously, because he doesn't play that much as a wideout. Special teams guy, runs back, kicks, but 2 long gainers tonight.
Right, and he probably wasn't in the scouting report. You know, when you're saying, okay, we got to stop this guy, we got to stop that guy, we got to stop this guy. They never mentioned Miles Austin.
2nd and 10, and A pass to Donald Driver is incomplete, covered by the linebacker Kevin Burnett, and that'll make it 3rd down and 10.
Yeah, where the Packers got in trouble tonight is they had that spread offense, and then when they were in spread, they couldn't run. And then when they came in tight and went max protection, they were doing that. No one got open. So there's kind of a yin-yang, whichever way they went. I think they played right into the Cowboys' defensive hands.
83 rushing yards tonight on 20 carries for Green Bay. 3rd down and 10. And that pass is too high, intended for the rookie Jordy Nelson.
See, and that's what's been happening to them, Al, as they go maximum protection like that on 3rd down. They only have 3 receivers out, and they get doubled and no one gets open.
Adam Jones back to take the kick off the foot of Frost. Low liner. Jones lets it go, and it will roll to a stop at the 29-yard line. And Dallas can play a little bit of clock ball right here with 8.5 to play in the 4th. Cowboys 27-9. John, do we have time to do this?
I think this is one that you answer.
Well, Wisconsin could be a swing state. From the 29-yard line. Here's Romo. And Romo's going to dump it off to the rookie Bennett. And Bennett with a nice gain. The rookie out of Texas A&M, drafted in the 2nd round to back up Jason Witten. And that one is good for a gain of 37 yards.
You know, and this is all Tony Romo. I mean, he makes a play action fake. Again, he gets pressure straight up the middle, feels it, gets away from it, keeps his eyes downfield, and finds Martellus Bennett. But I mean that's Tony. I mean that's all Tony Romo right there. I mean, getting away and making plays like that. There's not a lot of quarterbacks ever playing in would make some of these plays.
Great off-balance throws tonight in every direction. From the 34-yard line, here's Barber. And Barber will add to that total as he takes it to the 22-yard line. That's a gain of 12 yards, and Barber has now gained 130. And John, let's take a look at Witten's night.
Well, you know he's special. I mean, he does it all. He'll be a tight end and go up and catch a pass. That's what he normally does. Here he comes out of the backfield and goes deep and catches one in the middle. Here's the touchdown run to Felix Jones. He makes the block that springs him. Here's the next touchdown. You know, he leads in there. And this guy does it all from every position. He is a very, very special player.
1st and 10 at the 22-yard line. And this is Barber picking up a couple. And Witten separated his shoulder last week in the Philly game and hung in there. And well, remember last year we had that game where he lost his helmet and ran about 30 yards without a helmet.
That's when I knew he was my guy.
Yep.
You know, I don't know what we're going to play, but if we had to choose, I'd take Jason Witten and say, okay, you come with me, we'll go play. And you name the game. But I mean, he's a competitor, and you know, he's a tough guy, and he does everything that a tight end has ever done in this game.
2nd and 8. Marion Barber to the 13, tackled by Rouse. Next week, the Redskins will be going to Dallas. The Giants win today in overtime. Cincy gave them all they could handle. Dallas on its way to being 3-0. Philly beats Pittsburgh today, and there are the Redskins now at 2-1. There's only 2 losses in the NFC East. Well, of course, Washington lost to the Giants. Philly lost to Dallas, so within the division.
I don't think there's any argument at all when you said that's the best division in football. I mean, there's no second close.
Barber. And Barber to the outside. Well, Last year, the AFC South might have given you as that play is whistled dead. Blackman comes up with it. And Blackman's going to be given the football because the play was not blown dead until Blackman came up with it.
He's in, we're talking about Marion Barber and how he usually finishes off runs. Things like that usually don't happen to a finisher.
Nope, stayed in bounds, recovered by Blackman. And so still one last gasp for Green Bay. So Marion Barber, who's gained 140 yards tonight, had that one removed from his possession on a nice play by the cornerback Blackman. Blackman able to punch it loose. The ball stayed in bounds, and Blackman recovered it before he was sent out of bounds by Witten. That's Green Bay now from the 13-yard line. And Rodgers under pressure again, and he throws, and that's about a 7-yard gain to Greg Jennings, who's been his #1 target tonight. We go back to the fumble by Marion Barber.
You see the ball comes out well before he gets close to the boundary.
And right under Blackman, who looked down, and there it was, 2nd and 3. And that's caught by Jordy Nelson to the 33-yard line. Nelson picked in the 2nd round out of Kansas State.
Made a big touchdown last week. In fact, Aaron Rodgers said he didn't even know that was him out there on the right side streaking down the sideline. Said he didn't know it was him till after he threw the ball.
In Detroit, in a game in which Green Bay coughed up a 21-point lead and still won it going away by 23. And that is caught again by Nelson, and Dallas will give Green Bay all of the 6- and 7-yard gains they'd like.
Yeah, and that's one of the problems with this offense is, it's get back quick, throw short passes, run after the catch, all those things, and it's hard. Well, it's hard for anyone when you're 3 scores down.
And now it's Donald Driver spinning away, and then Henry will corral him and knock him down at the 48-yard line as we tick down to 4 minutes remaining in the 4th.
And I would think the Packers are doing exactly what they have to. They should, offensively, they should not be in another huddle tonight.
Cowboys rushing 4. And that is caught. That's a good move on the outside, and Jennings will get out of bounds. Pushed out by Hamlin. And for Jennings tonight, he's over 100 yards in receiving yards on 8 catches.
I think the Packers have to think of striking quickly here. They're in good position to take a shot right here. And on first down, you can even do a little play action pass with it.
At the 28-yard line. A little under 4 minutes to go. Back to Jackson. Brandon Jackson, and he gets some blocking, but there's a flag down, 2 in fact, back up at the 30-yard line. And there's 2 flags, the reason why he was able to
that was a screen pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a screen pass.
Holding.
Invited to rush.
Offense number 73. 10-yard penalty. Still first.
Darren College, the left guard.
And that should never happen on a screen pass. I mean, it's tough. It's tough in there pass protecting, but on a screen, you're going to block your guy a little while and then get out, and he's out, and that's where the hold is right there. He comes down, and all you have to do is get on that guy. Just get in the open field and get out. You don't have to put your arms around him.
Back to the 39 now on a first down and 20.
You know where he's from, Darren College? North Pole. North Pole, Alaska.
North Pole wound up going to Boise State.
He lives on Santa Claus Lane.
Put him together with Jay Cutler. That pass is incomplete. Cutler's from Santa Claus, Indiana?
Right. And Darren College is from the North Pole. Probably gotten a lot of fights. Where are you from? I'm from the North Pole. No, you're not. Don't give me that stuff. I'll ask you a question. Tell me what you are.
Producer Fred Godelli said, Green Bay is the farthest south he's ever lived. There's a guy who needs a trip to a Pro Bowl.
To college?
Well, yeah. Get him into the sun. 2nd and 20. It's his luck. They'll play the Pro Bowl in Kansas City by the time he gets there.
That's it. Keep it going.
Offside against the defense, and then the pass is thrown into the end zone and incomplete.
Yeah, he had that free play type thing, and everyone kind of stopped. And then they thought a whistle was going to blow or they were going to stop the play, and
offside,
they didn't.
Defense, number 97. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Jason Hatcher.
Jason Hatcher was offside, but he wasn't coming unabated to the quarterback, so they didn't blow the whistle. That's Jason Garrett there on the sideline of the Cowboys talking to Tony Romo. And that's one of the things that Jason Garrett does well with his offensive players is communicate. All the players have input.
2nd and 15. Rodgers throws over the middle. Don Lee to the 23-yard line. And if they go without a huddle again, it'll be 3rd down and 5 with 3:15 ticking down left.
23.
Rodgers is going to move the chains again. Dinking and dunking here and taking a lot of time off the clock in a 3-possession game. Nelson making the catch. It's a 1st down, but they'd have to score, recover an onside kick and score, and then recover another onside kick and score.
I think he could go outside now or run something up to the outside because they're really taking away that inside stuff like that.
And that's almost picked off.
Yeah, that's what they're taking away.
Yeah.
I don't know where you want to go, but I know where you don't want to go, where you just went.
Yep. Pac-Man Jones couldn't handle it, and it'll be 2nd down.
You can see here Jordy Nelson, he came under control. I mean, that's not a bad play. It looked like he was avoiding a collision, but he was avoiding a collision, but he was waiting for a hole. I think what happened is Rodgers thought he'd be on the other side of that.
He's going to collide with Courtney Brown as Rodgers throws to the outside. He goes back to Nelson. That's going to set up a 1st and goal at the 2-yard line with 2.5 minutes to play. So a good-looking drive here that began back at the 13-yard line after a Barber fumble.
Now, he had to throw it outside like he just did, but he had to throw it a little deeper than he just did.
From the 3. Rodgers chased from behind by Henry, who grabs him, and a flag is thrown in the end zone. So Henry has had good success tonight coming around the corner on that corner blitz.
And of course that penalty is
holding defense number 26. Half the distance to the goal, automatic.
That's Ken Hamlin. One-time Seahawk.
Yeah, and it was on Donald Driver right here. The holding was right there.
1st and goal from the 1.
Yeah. I don't know why he did it. I mean, he did it, but you wonder why did he do it? What the heck was that all about?
The official was like 2 yards away from it. 1st and goal. And Rodgers will take it himself into the end zone. So Aaron Rodgers gets into the end zone, but you don't do a Lambeau leap when you're down by 3 scores.
No, but I think you do get ready for an onside kick.
Definitely.
That's not a bad read there. He saw the place. It was just a wedge. Everyone just comes in and wedges in the middle, but there was a gap on that one side and a soft spot, and Rodgers went right to it.
So that makes it a 12-point game.
Would you go for 2 here and make it a 10-point game?
No, I wouldn't, because I'd rather get it to 11 and then go for 8 and 3, because if you don't make it 2, you need 2 touchdowns. So right now it's an 11-point game. At least they can, kick a field goal if they can recover an onside kick, then try another onside kick, and you know the rest.
I gotcha.
Sunday Night Football brought to you by Wendy's. It's way better than fast food. It's Wendy's by Verizon Wireless. by Lincoln, introducing the all-new 2009 Lincoln MKS, Lincoln Reach Higher. And by Miller Lite, great taste, less filling. That is not less filling. Not that.
Tastes great, though.
You are correct. It's crazy. You come up here.
No, you're so right.
I was just trying to find something on the menu today that I knew was less than 10,000 fat grams. It's hard.
Yeah. They even fry macaroni and cheese.
They're big,
fried, yeah.
Cheese with everything.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But you have to love Wisconsin, though, and you have to love Green Bay, and and what it means here and what they mean, and historically, and this always will be and always has been my favorite place to come for football.
Here comes an onside kick attempt. And this one, remember, it has to go 10 yards. It has to go 10 yards for the kicking team to recover it. So that's Tremont Williams who comes up with the football. But as you can see, we have the yellow line 10 yards downfield, so we're going to have an illegal touch. And that'll be the call right here. You kick from the 30, it has to go to the 40, and that one went to the 39. It's not where your foot is, it's where the ball is.
The ball was illegally touched short of the 10 yards to gain. Therefore, it'll be the offensive ball after a 5-yard penalty. First down.
So take a look at this again it's where the ball is when it's touched.
Yeah, and that yellow line is a to gain line, and you can see that it's touched right there before it gets to the yellow line or the to gain line.
And the official right down the line taking a look at it. So an illegal touch.
It was pretty close, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
very close.
Yeah.
Within a half, a yard. There he is. I mean, he's touching the ball at the 39-yard line. Momentum carries him past, and of course that gives Dallas the ball at the 34-yard line. Barber tonight, 140 yards, which equals the best rushing performance by anybody in the league today. And there's some irony in this because he gains, well, let's see if they give him a gain of 1. It's either no gain or a gain of 1. The other guy who gained 140 yards today, and that's no gain, is Julius Jones, who leaves Dallas to go to Seattle, who gained 140 for the Seahawks today. With Jones gone, Barber's the guy, and he's got 140. Green Bay takes a timeout.
And I know why Barber's still in there running the ball, because he wants to, and he wants to because he doesn't want that last carry to be that fumble. I mean, that ball that he fumbled, he really was upset after that play.
Wendy's post-game report will be coming up. Horse Trailer Player of the Game. Andrew will be talking to Tony Romo and to Miles Austin. And Messrs. Costas and Collinsworth will take a look ahead to Week 4. And speaking of Week 4, we'll be in Chicago. Next Sunday night, it'll be the Eagles meeting the Bears at Soldier Field on Sunday Night Football. 2nd and 10. Here's Barber. And now he'll go past Julius Jones. Green Bay will take another timeout. And the ball is at the 31-yard line. So they have a timeout here. The clock will stop at the 2-minute warning, and then they'll have at the moment. Well, there are a couple of guys to choose from, and there would be your leading candidates, John.
Yeah, and I would take Marion Barber. I just think he just sets a tone here for what they had to do. I mean, they wore this Packer defense down, and he was a big part of it. And and I always put, anytime you put a running back in there, and I'm not talking about Horse Trailer, but you got to put the offensive line.
I feel sorry for Austin, though. Maybe we'll put him on like the pony trailer.
Yeah, he just came off injury. He didn't expect to do that much tonight, and he's just happy with that. And I see Andrew's going to interview him.
Yep.
You know, that's enough.
That's right.
That's enough. Start him off slow. Been hurt, coming off injury, rehabbing, get him back.
We can't put him in the Breeders' Cup right off the bat. You know, we're going to start him in a couple of claiming races.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. Andrew will talk to him. He'll feel good about that.
3rd and 8.
And then Barber, I mean, he's a workhorse. He's a horse.
And a half. And Romo's going to go for 6, and that's incomplete. Interesting call.
Who do you think talked him into that one?
Yeah. One guess. 2-minute warning. When we come back, T.O. says, come to me, come to me. It's creative.
Yes, it is.
I'm scared. Philly, Chicago next week. Cowboys, meanwhile, you go back to the mid-70s, 75 through 77. The last time they started 3-0 in consecutive years, and right now they're on the cusp of doing that with 1:59 to play in the 4th. 4th down and 8 here in a situation where they will go for it.
They've been very impressive tonight. I mean, they weren't playing their best. This wasn't the best Cowboy football, but you can see that they're just so talented and so dominant that they can make mistakes and recover.
And they showed a lot of resiliency in that Eagle game last week. As Romo throws, and that is caught, but Witten fights for the first down and doesn't get it. They'll turn the ball over on downs, but they had some trouble last week, John, with Romo losing the ball in the end zone for a touchdown and gave up the ball deep in their own territory, and Philadelphia was able to get very much back into the game and take the lead, but the Cowboys showing a lot of resiliency in the second half.
Right, and tonight he throws an interception and comes back. He has a couple penalties and then comes back and throws a touchdown pass, and I think that's who Tony Romo is.
Mm-hmm. They can do it with a lot of different people. They do it on a night when Owens has caught only 2 balls for 17 yards. They bring Austin off the bench, and he has those 2 gigantic catches. Barber just does workman-like and workhorse-like job throughout the night. And they're on their way to a win as Donald Driver is going to look for somebody to lateral it to. There's nobody there. And then Rodgers comes in and throws a block. And then Driver is going to throw one. And that is caught on the outside by Nelson. And then Nelson's going to get out of bounds. That looked to me like it could have been a forward pass. After he looked for the lateral and came back. And once the play starts, even if you come behind the line of scrimmage, you can't throw it ahead of you.
And I think he was trying to lateral it.
Yep.
Originally, and then he couldn't lateral it, so he started to run. I think Jordy Nelson, who ends up with it, was supposed to get the lateral initially.
Yep. And I think this is what they're going to talk about, right. An illegal forward pass.
We have an illegal forward pass on the offense, number 80. Second forward pass on the down. 5-yard penalty in the previous spot, still first down.
Right, you had 1 forward pass. And then all you can do is throw backward passes after that, even if you do come behind the original line of scrimmage, which he did.
Right, and Donald Driver is shaking his head, and he knows because I think what happened, he was supposed to catch that pass, and he was going to lateral it to Jordy Nelson. Now watch, Jordy Nelson isn't behind him. See 87 here? He was upfield, so he knew that he couldn't give it to him there, so he started to run the other way. That was an interesting thing Rodgers did there, huh?
They threw a block on Canty to knock him down. 1st and 15, the ball is at the 20-yard line. And Aaron winds up hitting Lee. Lee gets back to the 30. Clock down to a minute 25 and ticking down. The Packers have 1 timeout.
Cowboy defense did a good job of tackling tonight because this offense is throw the short ball and let the guys run with it. But every time the guy would catch a short pass, there was a tackler right there on him.
Donald Driver makes that catch. And then Rodgers will stop the clock with a spike here at the 37-yard line. I think what you got to do in this situation is take a chance for like a 30-yarder downfield, bring in your field goal unit, make it an 8-point game, and then try to recover an onside kick.
Right, and that's the way you play that, because you need a combination of a field goal, a score, and a 2-point play, and it can come in any order. So don't waste all your time getting one. The minute you can get the first thing, if it's a field goal, you take it.
Second, they got into field goal range. That's why they get downfield 20 or 30 yards here. Rodgers looking for that sort of distance here, and the pass is tipped and incomplete, tipped by Anthony Henry. That'll make it third down, 3rd and 10.
I think they can throw to the outside because, Dallas is funneling everything to the inside, and the Packers are throwing everything to the inside.
Four-man rush on 3rd and 10. Against the grain, Rodgers throws, and that's out of bounds. And it's 4th down, as Greg Jennings was the intended receiver on the play. Jennings with 8 catches tonight. Wade Phillips will take his team back to Big D. The Washington Redskins will come to town next week into Irving, Texas, and the Green Bay Packers will be heading to Tampa Bay, with the Buccaneers coming off that tremendous come from behind overtime win behind Brian Greasy at Chicago this afternoon.
And when you're the Cowboys and when you're a good team, it seems like every game you play is a rivalry game.
And that is caught for a first down, so that will keep their hopes alive. And Rodgers says, let's get up and spike it and stop the clock here. And that's what they will do, but we'll run to 40 seconds. So now they're down to the point, trying to preserve that last time out. And what they really need here is about a 15-yard, 17-yard pass, get out of bounds, stop the clock, bring in the field goal unit, make it, and then an onside kick.
I was talking about the Packer defense being out of gas. The Packer offense is out of gas.
Yeah.
I mean, look at these guys. They are really tired. Not a lot of gas in those tanks right now.
Should be their 63rd play. Offensive play of the night. 2nd down and 10 from the 49-yard line. Rodgers about as deep a drop as you can take, and they're exhausted. And DeMarcus Ware gets the sack, and Rodgers takes that last time out here. It's an 11-yard sack.
I think Mike McCarthy's looking for a play that you probably don't have. There's Greg Ellis coming from this side, and when Rodgers starts to fade to that side, he knows that he has to keep containment, so he gets on the up shoulder, gets upfield, and makes Aaron Rodgers stop.
Well, this is one of those games where, teams like to say, okay, we're going to find out where we are. Well, the Dallas Cowboys know where they are. They're going to be 3-0 and going home. And the Packers, after starting the year with that win here against Minnesota and then the win in Detroit, a little of the air comes out of the balloon tonight on a night like tonight.
Right, but I'll say this, that the Cowboys are in a much more difficult division than the Packers are.
3rd down and 22. And Rodgers avoids the sack for the moment. Then throws, and that's off the hand of Jordy Nelson and incomplete, and it will be 4th down. Packers will go to 2-1. John talking about the division. Minnesota won today. That was important for them after starting the season 0-2. Record of 1-2.
Minnesota with Gus Frerotte at quarterback now. Right. Detroit.
Right.
Where are they?
Nowhere. And then there's Chicago, and the Bears have lost 2 excruciating games in a row after upsetting Indianapolis on opening night. There's a screen set up for Brandon Jackson, and he'll seek the sideline. That leaves him with only 10 seconds remaining in the game, and they are gassed.
Yeah.
And Tony Romo will come out, do a little kneel down action, and that will do it. And the Dallas Cowboys will win at Lambeau Field for the first time in history. There are the records in the NFC North, with Green Bay still on top with a mark of 2-1, and the Giants and the Dallas Cowboys on top in the NFC East 1-0. Tony Romo can afford to smile. He comes back to the state in which he grew up. He was actually born in San Diego. His dad was in the Navy, moved to Wisconsin when he was 1. And he can go celebrate with some family and friends before they head back to Big D.
He wore his hat out there. He wore his baseball hat out there.
He hands it to Rich Dalrymple. Wade Phillips and Mike McCarthy get together, and the Cowboys win their third straight to open the 2008 campaign. 27-16 with a Wendy's postgame report coming right up.